Today I want to experiment and see if I can make my own shimmer powder, but by using Kool-Aid. So what I have here, and I've already opened a few packages here of blue, purple, and yellow, and I've already put them in my containers. But just to show you what I did is I made a label on my label maker, and I labeled the top of my container with what I'm putting inside, which flavor of Kool-Aid I'm putting inside. And then I cut open my pack of Kool-Aid, and make sure that you're using the unsweetened mix, so it has no sugar in it. They're about 24-25 cents a piece. Those are the ones that you want. So there is my faux red. The other things I have here is I just have a little craft stick that I'm going to use. You could use a toothpick or pretty much anything. And then or a little spoon, something like that. I have my paper here, and then I have a mister filled with water. And so the first thing I'm going to do is try it by misting the paper first, and we can see that some of it was already airborne, or maybe just on my fingers. But I'm going to take, let's see what we get with each color. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of the grape, and let me tell you, it smells fantastic. And I'm just going to dump that on there to see what it will do with the water. And let me grab a tissue here to wipe this off so I don't contaminate the colors. Alright, and so now I'm going to try the lemonade version next to it here. And even though the powders, like the lemon here, doesn't look very yellow at all, when it's interacting with the water, it is making a yellow color. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it is showing up there. What do I have here? Okay, blue. I think this is like a blue raspberry lemonade or something like that. And then the last one I have is a black cherry, which I chose instead of cherry because I wanted a, a little bit darker color. And it looks like my paper might be getting dry. So let me close these just so they don't get water in them. And I'm going to spritz that again with water just to see that, there we go. So you can see how we're getting the interaction of color. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll see what it looks like, when it's done. The next thing I wanted to try was to put some of the colors down and then spray them, which we just saw work, but let's see what would happen if we could mix some maybe yellow and blue together. So there's the lemonade. Here's some of the blue on top, and they're both kind of white looking, so we can't really see what's happening on the page yet until we spray it with water. And make sure they get them all wet. And so there we have the colors, but they're not mixing. Maybe if I can get the water to run a little bit there. And I'm starting to get light green. So I'm just going to add a little bit more here since it's really wet. Let's see if we can just put a little more blue in. happens if we add a little more yellow. Let's put them right on top of each other. See if we can get those to mix. So I see that there is some green happening there. I have some that still needs to be activated with some water there. And so there we're getting some interaction between the colors, mixing. And just to show you with the Nouveau Shimmer Powder what it does on water, and it has a metallic look to it, and you can see that it is much stronger in color. So let's see if we could mix some up that could be shimmery. So what I have here is, I guess we'll work with yellow just so we can do a comparison here. And I'm just going to do it right here in the top of my lid. And what I have is some LA Color eyeshadow from the dollar store. And I'm just going to tap that onto here, maybe dump a little on. If I can get some loose to come out. Alright, so I've got the shimmer powder. Just make sure everything's dry here. And then I'm going to take a scoop of the yellow. Set that aside. Alright, and then I'm going to mix those two together. Okay, so what I have here is I've re-wet. I have mixed up the Kool-Aid with the mica powder, and we'll just sprinkle it on here and see what we get. And I'm already starting to see the shimmer. I don't know if it will attach itself like the shimmer powder will, but yeah, you can definitely see it. Just dump it all on there because I don't have anywhere else to put it. Now, I'm not making any great art here. I'm just doing this demo to kind of show you what it could look like. So let's saturate that. And we'll set that off to dry, or I could even hit it with a heat gun. So let me do that and I'll come back and show you the results. Okay, so they are mostly dry. There's a few little wet spots still, but I wanted to move on. So I wanted to show you what we have here is we've got the black cherry here, and I don't feel any residue on the paper here at all. I've got blue raspberry lemonade. I feel a little bit, and you can see I just smeared it there where it's still a little wet. Then lemonade, which actually looked white. So did the blue raspberry, but when you apply water to it, it has the color. And then here is grape, and that is totally smooth as well. So that was the first test. And then the second one was to compare it to the Nouveau Shimmer. And so what I have here is the Nouveau, and you can see here where there is a clump of powder. So that, I can feel it, I can't rub it off, and there is no shimmer coming off of my fingers. And then the next thing I tried was mixing the lemonade with the Snow White LA Colors eyeshadow, which is basically a mica powder from the dollar store. And it bubbled up a little bit here from the lemonade, and it's still a little tacky and it's coming off. But in the dry spots, when I rub over it, in the thick areas, of course, it's still coming off, but it has drained off over here, and if I rub on that, there's nothing that comes off when it's dry. So this is still a little damp, and probably why it's still sticky, and some of it coming off. And then I thought, well, this is a silver base, and this had more of a gold shimmer to it, and I had what's called Sunshine from LA Colors, and it's gold, obviously. And so I mixed the two of them together. So I've mixed Lemonade and Sunshine together here, and you can see it has much more of a golden tone to it than the Nouveau, but it does have shimmer to it, in a similar fashion to the Nouveau. And it's still a little damp, so it is coming off on my fingers, but I think when it dries, it will be totally similar. So that was that test. And then the last thing I wanted to try here was to see if I could mix it with a paint pen, a water paint pen, and paint. So I'll just start with a little bit of Grape. I'm just going to take it out here and put it on my mat. So I'm just going to take a small amount here, put it on my mat, and use my water pen here, getting a little bit of water out of it. Mix those up, and so you can see here that I definitely have a color. And then on my Grape area here, I'm going to see what happens if I paint with it. So that seems to work. The color seems more intense and really not very purple. But we'll blend that out, and then let me try to clean this off, and we'll try another color. I probably should have gone from light to dark instead of using the darkest color there. So let's go with the Lemonade. And once again, just add a little water from my brush, mix it up, and let's see if it's any darker. The Lemonade seems to be a lot lighter, and so I'm wondering if we need more of it. It is a very subtle yellow color. There's a little bit more intensity to it. Alright, so wipe that off, clean out by squeezing some water through the brush. I'm just picking it up. Let's see what's next. Is the blue. This is Blue Raspberry Lemonade. I'm just calling it blue. So if you're looking for it in the store, it's actually a lemonade that's blue. It's painting a really nice color. And the last one is the Black Cherry. It smells really good. seems to be a pretty intense color, so I'll thin it out a little bit here. And it looks like they're painting a little bit differently than when they're spritzed. I'm going to try mixing the black cherry in with the blue raspberry. Of course, I'm going to get like a purpley mud color. That's okay. But I'll try that down here. I don't know, maybe that red is really intense, and I'm getting a color that looks more like grape. Let me see. I'm going to add, just because that red is so intense, I'm going to add some blue just to really try to alter the color. There is some grittiness, of course, to the Kool-Aid, and so I'm not sure, you know, how you feel like that's going to affect how you use this, but there we go. We've got a variety of different colors here that we can make, and so that black cherry really darkened up, making almost gray, and you can see how bright the blue was here, and then how dark we're getting it down here while mixing it with the black cherry. Now once they dry, I have to say the black cherry is a darker red, but you can see that they're related. The blue seems very similar. The lemon was much lighter, but if we added more powder, we could get a brighter yellow to it. And the only one that was very different here was the grape, although here, when I tended to smear it out, it did come to that purple color that we see over here. I'm seeing a relationship here, but then this darker color here, maybe in the dark spots in through here, but a whole lot different. So I'm just gonna wipe to see if we get the grit off of there. And so there are our examples with Kool-Aid, which is a really fun art medium that you could use. And just lastly, because I have this here, I'm going to use this side of my paper over here and just go in and, you know, pick it up. Similar to how you would play around with rubber stamps. And so that I'm going to let dry, and we'll give it a go and see how that looks as well. So I hope you liked seeing this experiment, and if you give it a try, I'd love to hear about it. And if you find any other unique Kool-Aid colors that work well for you, I'd like to hear about that too. So thanks for taking time to watch this, and I would love for you to give it a thumbs up, as well as to, I think, click the button to follow to see other craft tutorials. So thanks for watching. So I wanted to just show you some examples of what I have done with using the Kool-Aid. So for this one, my background was wet and it had some Kool-Aid on it, sprinkled a little bit more of the black cherry on there, and then I just took the paper and swiped it over it and got this really nice texture. Now for this one, I sprayed the paper with water, and then I dropped the different colors onto the paper and let it bleed. And areas that it was thick, it was kind of tacky, which made me think, you know, you can use foiling papers with adhesives. So if it's tacky in an area, would the foiling paper stick to it? And it did. So what I did was I put it down, and I actually kind of burnished it with my fingernail a little bit to get the foil to stick in the sticky area. So you just kind of go around, like right there is quite a big sticky area, and so I'm applying a little bit more pressure than what you normally would do. But there, you can see the foil is a much larger piece than was there before, and if I rub over it, it is permanently in place. So that is another new technique that we can do. You can actually see where, I don't know if you can see here, where it's, the Kool-Aid is a little shiny where it was thick, and so you put the foil over it, give it a little bit of a rub, and I'm just doing it with the back of my fingernail, but you could of course use a tool or whatever you want, and so there it picks up a little bit more of the foil, and so that gives it a really interesting look to it. So who knew you could get foil? And what I'm using here is like a deco foil. Let me grab an example of it here. Yeah. So this is what I'm using, is deco foil from iCraft, and this is in a gold. So they make it in a bunch of different colors. This one is called Gold Oro. And I just had a scrap piece of it, and so I thought, well, hey, I'll try it and see if it actually sticks. And it did. So I'm really excited about that. Hope you enjoyed this.